Now we are back. Second, now if you see the page layout, it is coming to having 5 columns, and the next page will have, it is going down. If you see, it is going down. So what it is doing is, it is taking the data from page 1 to page 9. If you go and go to the this page break preview in the view icon, you can see how the page movement is happening. Let me just increase the size. So now see, page number 1 is having this row, then page number 2 will be this, page number 3 will be down. So it is going from top to bottom. In many cases, what the users want is the data should not go from top to bottom, they should go from left to right. So for instance, page number 1 is this sheet, so page number 2 should be this sheet, and not, it should not go down, it should go in the side. So what we have to do, we have to go to the page layout, click on this icon, go to sheets. You can see here, this is down and over, you change it to over and then down. So what it will do is, once I do it, so now you can see that the page number 1 is here. Now it will print page number 2, then it will page number 3, and so on. So then it will go to page number 4, page number 5, and page number 6. Let me show you in the print preview screen of here. Let me just make it big. This is page number 1. Page number 2, it is coming from July to September to May and 16, and then from June to December it is coming. So it, all months are coming in tandem. Now let's go to the next thing in this. If you see, what is happening is the base rate of all commodities is coming in row number 1, but when I go to the next page, this column particulars are not being reflected here. So if you go to the next sheet, you will be very difficult to see to which column this rate belong. What we need to do for that, what you can do is, go to page layout, click on print titles. This is the screen which is coming. What it will do is, you can see that there are rows to repeat and columns to repeat. I will talk about both of them. Rows to repeat means what row to repeat at the end of each page. Let me do it first. Suppose I want the headings to be printed at every sheet. Once I do it, put a row here, and I do a print preview, what it will do is, so for page number 4 also the heading is coming, the headings are coming for page number 4. So it will be very easy for people to see to which month this data belongs to. Now if I go back, and again if I, so what I have done, I have put the row numbers, these row numbers at the top. Okay, now we will go back, but again these columns are not coming. So logically we have to go to print titles, and we have done for row numbers. Now I can repeat the column numbers here. Once I do the column numbers here and do a print preview, so this is page number 1. When you go to page number 2, you can see that the columns are coming for in each page. So this is page number 5, 6, also the columns are coming. So that way it will be very easy for people to see how the data is moving, and this data belongs to which set. And this means that for in July 2015 the eggs and meat prices was this, and if I go to the next page, in February the egg price have increased to 298. Okay, so let's talk more about this. So till now what we have studied about the margins. Margins will help you in increasing the size, the usage of page. Then we talked about how to bring in these rows and these columns. Now we will talk about orientation. Orientation means portrait or landscape. So presently by default Excel shows everything in portrait. So again let's go to the print preview. So this, the data is coming in top to bottom. If I make the orientation from portrait to landscape, you will see it will have more columns and lesser number of rows. So data will become, your columns will increase and the rows will decrease, because it will change the page size from portrait to landscape. These are primarily used when the number of columns are more and the number of rows are less. Then we should be using this column. Okay, so this comes under page layout, orientation of page. Now let's talk about size. Size means the page size, the paper in which you want to take a printout. As a default Excel uses letter, and normally you have either A4 being used in office or a letter. You can use either or as per your convenience. So A4 gives you little more space. As you can see, letters dimensions are 8.5 to 11 and A4 dimensions are 8.27 to 11.69. So the length is little more in A4 than in letter. Okay. A3s are the big sheets of paper which printer which has higher dimensions can be used. And once I do an A3, if you see it will have more data to show. The pages depend on, you need to do this setting depending on the data and the output which you want to show. A3 and legal has more length but lower width. A3 and legal are normally not used because they are difficult to read, and as a default now most of the companies don't have these kinds of paper in their stock. So you need to first discuss with your stationery team to see which kind of paper is being used. Then only you should be using these paper space settings in an Excel sheet. Now let's talk about print area. What does this print area mean? If you see right now, what is happening is that entire, I'm just reducing the size for you to understand, the entire sheet is being printed. From page number 1 to page number 8, the entire sheet is being printed. Suppose I don't want so much of data, I only want a small portion of data. So what I can do is, I will go to this area, go to sheets, go to print area, and then select a certain portion, suppose say this much area. So in future you will be able to see the printing will happen only for this much area. Okay, so let me repeat. So how does this work? You select the area you want the print to happen. Suppose I want to take a printout till this area. I will select, and I only want the data till say June 2016. So I selected this area. I will go to page layout. I will click on print area and then set print area. So now what has happened is that my area for printing will be from column number A1 to T74. This T74 is the area for which my printing will happen. So if you will go to this page layout and to the sheet, you will see that the print area has been converted to A1 to 274. Another beautiful feature for this is you can have multiple print areas of a single sheet. Suppose I have taken from A1 to A74, I can just put a comma and add one more area, say from this to this, and I can convert this to this area. And if you see on a print area, now only the selection area which I have done will be printed. Okay, now let's talk about page breaks. These are mostly used in Word, but we can use it in Excel also. Suppose, let me first remove the print area. So if I use this clear print area option, I will go back to default and my entire field will be printed. Let's just to recap, to get this page view, what I have done is I have gone to view. As a default, Excel will have this normal area, normal work views, which doesn't show the page numbers and all. So if I use a page break preview, I can see the page numbers, and then I can drag this page setup. So if I drag this column from January 22nd to December 2015, what will happen is that entire calendar year data is coming in one sheet, and the second calendar year data is coming in the second sheet. That way it will have more readability and your data will be more structured. So you can insert or remove or change the page breaks by just dragging and dropping. So suppose I want to have this fruits in a second sheet. What I will do, I will just pick and drop this the tab to a next sheet. As a default, normally Excel takes 40 to 45 rows in a page. So if you see, I have just put this cursor here. So now fruits are coming from in the next page, which is page number 3. So now again, if I want non-food articles to start from a separate sheet, I can just pick and put this data into column number 70. So now non-food articles will come from page number 5. That's the utility of using a view option and then using these lines to drag and drop the data. Now let's talk about print titles a little more. In the print title, till now we have talked about print area, how to repeat rows on the top, how to repeat columns on a page sheet. Now we will be talking about these icons which are coming here. Okay, so let me first show you how the print is coming. If you see, the data is coming in this fashion. Okay, so now if I want the grid lines to appear, I can just click on the grid lines, and if I do a print preview, you can see the grid lines have started appearing. these grid lines, they are appearing because I have put in the grid lines icon. I have clicked the grid lines icon here. Now if you see the pin preview, the second best option is my colors are coming. Since I have put the rows in a different colors, let's suppose I change this color from gray to orange and I do a print preview, the color of orange is coming here. Sometimes you don't want these colors to appear in so many fashion, so what we can do is we can just go there and use a black and white icon, and that's it. Now if you do a print preview, the colors are gone, and this will happen to all the data in your sheet. Suppose here if I change this color to say blue, now if I do a print preview, you can see the colors are not here. Okay, this is the basic concept of using page setup. Go to layout, go to printer and remove the black and white. Now it will show all the colors. Let's talk about the second icon, draft quality. This is primarily used to see how many pixels you want to get printed on a piece of paper. With the draft quality on, it will use less ink. However, the quality or the sharpness of words will not be there. In case you want to print a lot of data, a lot of sheets are there, you can use this draft quality because it will make the speed of printer faster, thereby beating around time, and even the cost of printing will go down. Okay. Now I will talk about row and column headings. Now first see how the sheet looks like. If you see, presently the sheet shows commodities column and the months with different rates. It doesn't show which cell has what. Now if you have a big sheet and have lot of formulas in it, you want to see these headings, these row numbers and table numbers on a piece of paper, what will you do? You will go to print title and click row and column heading, and once you do a print preview, you can see that your row numbers and column numbers have started appearing in this sheet. You can see these row numbers and column numbers. These are very helpful when you need to link data to multiple sheets and you want to tick the output with and see whether the data everything is coming as per your expectations or not. So suppose if you want to see the data of P115, you will know the data will come to 326.6. Okay, so the row and column headings will show you this. Okay, now talking about comments and cell errors as displayed. So first of all, I have to first create a comment field. Let me just first put a comment, insert comment, and I will put checking comments on a printer. So what I have done is I have put a comment here and I will put it as show comments. Now when I go for a print, I can't see a comment. However, you may need to see your comments which are coming here to be printed on a piece of paper. So how will you do that? Go to print titles, go on comments. So presently if you see, it has marked as none. Suppose I put it as displayed on sheet and click OK. So now when I do a print preview, you will see that the print comment will appear exactly the way it is being shown in the screen. So my comment will be shown on the piece of paper. However, this may lead to data being hidden, like in this case the data in column C and row 4 is not shown, the data in D is not shown, which may defeat or negate the entire purpose of a printout. So what option do we have? We have one more option, and that is go to print titles. You can get all these things displayed at the end of the sheet. If I do at the end of the sheet and click OK, now if I go to a print preview, you will not see the comments here. However, you will go to last page, you will see the comments. It will be at the last page where you can see the cell reference, that in cell B3 there was a comment by Abhishek Agrawal, which is checking on a printer, checking comments on a printer. So all the comments will come at the end of the sheets, and it will not hide the content or the printout. These comments are helpful if you want to tell the reader of the report something important. So now you can see the importance of row and column heading with comments. Suppose if you see it now, since you have put in these rows and column heading, so everybody will know that B3 denotes what. So B3 is weight, and you will at the end of the cell B3 which has weight, the comments will be applicable, so people will be able to go and refer where this comment belongs to, which sheet or which cell or which data this comment belong to. And it will make the life of people who is reading the reports easier. Okay, now let's move on. This is called cell errors. When you're working with lot of data and lot of formulas, there will be errors. Suppose, let me just create an error for you. This is, let me put it 0. If I divide something by a 0, it will show me error. So this error can be in multiple areas. Suppose this error is here also, and this error is, let me just create the errors for you guys. So these are the errors which are coming. And now if I do a print preview, you can see that the errors are getting deflected. Errors, although are nice to tell you that this formula is having a problem, or there is no data available for the formula to give a result, but for when you are taking a printout of a report, these errors can be a big eyesore. People get distracted with so much of errors. So how do we remove those errors from a printout? What I will do is, I will again go to print titles. Now this is the option which is displayed that this was error. So suppose I put a dash here and put a OK here. Now if I take what I have done is, let me just repeat it. In cell error sheet, I have put a dash here. Now if I take a print preview, so you can see that the errors are there are no errors. You can only see dashes here, which means that there was error but there is no output here. So now if you can see that the reports are more readable, and people will be able to concentrate only on the data which needs to be seen and not go into error piece. Even though your original file will have errors, the output will not have errors, and your bosses and your managers will be able to see the relevant data there. Again, you can have a blank option also, or you can have a NA option also. It depends on, like, if you put an NA and do a print preview, it instead of error it will show a not applicable or NA icon. Again, if I use a blank icon and do a print preview, there will be no data which will be there, and the cells will be shown as blank. It is totally up to you how you want to present your errors. Excel has the option for you to use, and it's totally up to you how you want to use this as it is. Now if I go again back to this printing thing, what we have talked about, all the areas which are here. Now let's talk about header and footer. These header and footers really help you a lot. So again, going back to the print preview screen, presently there is no way of finding out what is the page number, or in what page, or how many pages are there, or which report are we talking about. You can't guess anything from this data. This data, it all seems same. Okay, so what can we do? We can put in headers and footers. So let me just put a footer here, like say page 1 of this question mark means if you see that now it will be showing page 1 of 9. If you go to next page, it will show page 2 of 9, page 3 of 9, page 4 of 9. Okay, however, if you see in this data, page has become blurred. Now why has it become blurred? The reason being, we have overlapped the margin. This is the margin of page field and this is the margin for header field. Now I have reversed the margin up and down. Now if you will see it in this field, page 5 of 9 is coming down. So the first margin was till when the data of Excel sheet will be there, and this margin denotes the header and footer margin. So you have a lot of options available for when we are doing a header and footer. There are lots and lots of options. Then we also have custom header and footer. Presently, if you see, we have put in page numbers of page number. We can put in a time, we can put in a date, we can even put in, say, a file path name, or here if you put in, so I put in a path name and file name, then I can put in the sheet name also. So suppose I have done all this, then if I see a print preview, so what I am doing, I am doing that this is my file name, path name, and this is my sheet name, and this is the page number, and this is the moment of time when I have done this printout. So you can have version controls based on this, and this you can use it as a timestamp. same whatever you can do in header, you can footer, you can also do it in header. So instead of going of printing down, you can print at the top. Suppose I want to put in how to print a header in Excel sheet. So now what it's a custom made, so I've just typed it out. So now when I do it, you will see this header will come in all the sheets. This header will come in all the sheets. This header is coming here, which helps you in identifying. You can put anything like a name or a reference number, even a website name or the owner of this file or whatever you want to. Let's talk. So we have talked about sheets, we have talked about header and footer. Now we have talked about margins. Let's talk about this. We talk about how the margins affect. So this header margins and footer margins are the ones which the space which will be used by a header or a footer. So if you see, it should always be that the top margin should be more than the header margin, so that the content of a header doesn't overlap the data. Okay, so if you see here, the top margin is 0.43 and header is 0.3. Same is the case with bottom margin and top margin. Now let's talk about this center on the page. So if you see here, presently it is left aligned. So if I click a center, the data will come in the middle of the page, which is centrally aligned to the top. Suppose I remove this and do a vertical align, it will come down and it will be center from on the width of the paper, not on the length of the paper. Okay, if I do both, the printout will happen in the middle of the paper with equal space on all sides. So now if I do a print preview, let's make it short. So this, it is coming in the middle of this sheet, you can see that, right? So let me just change it to horizontal and do a print preview. So if you see, it has gone up. Again, if I do a page setup and do vertical, it has come to the middle of from the length point of view. This is for all about margins. Now let's talk about this sheet page. So we have talked about portrait orientation, we have talked about the size. Now let's see, we have talked about paper size, we have talked about the quality. Now let's talk about fit. What it does is, presently if you see, the data is being fit from page number 1 to 9, and our boss has said that the data should get fit in say 6 pages. So instead of adjusting this, I can just say page 1 to 6 feet tall and just turn OK here. So now the data has become small, but it is trying to get itself fit in 3 pages only. Again, if I go and fit, so now it has, the width had increased, and so it has, what it has done, it has gone from 2 pages to 6 pages, it has become 12 pages. So data is getting consolidated in 12 pages. Please note that by changing this size, if you, I've just again done, so the data will get compressed. So it is getting 50, adjusted to 55%. By doing 55%, what it is doing is that since the data is getting smaller, it may be possible that instead of using 6, it will end up using only 3 sheets. If I say I put 6 pages wide and say 1 page tall, you can see that everything has come in one sheet. From a tall point of view, the column data, all the rows are coming in one sheet, and columns also, because the data has become so small. Suppose I put it 2 sheets, so what it will happen, it will have the data, all the rows will be coming in 2 sheets, and the third last page was always the comment sheet, which will be a separate sheet always. So if you see here, it is coming in 2 sheets, sheet number 1 and sheet number 2. Again, if I go back and make it 3 sheets, so the rows and columns will go into 3 sheets, 1, 2 and 3 sheets. So all the rows are coming in 3 sheets, and once I did it 3 sheets, the size has adjusted to 6. That's it, folks. That's it, folks, for now. This is all I have for the page setup in Excel. Let's talk about other stuff in our next podcast. Thank you.